Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jersey COic Krew, your favorite podcast for all things pop culture, comic books, TV shows, movies. As always, I'm Chris Heller, and with me is the great
Rob Moran. Thank you for calling me great. It's about time.
You did it to me last week, so I figured I should do it back. Thank you. But as always, if you're watching, make sure you check out the description below. We do talk about spoiler stuff, and we are finally going to be talking about the final season of Game of Thrones.
Yes.
I know we're a little late to the game.
Season
a lot's been going on.
Ocho.
Season Ocho, we're going to talk through every episode, go over the good, the bad, the questionable, and really kind of break this down and figure out what we're dealing with here.
Okay.
And
see whether or not the final season justified the show. Whether it was, the proper ending.
True. It's what we got. But, so, going into Season 8, in my opinion, before we even, break down episode to episode...
Okay.
I thought going into Season 8, there was no way in hell that they were going to, in the first episode alone, there was no way that this show was going to live up to the hype that has been set for 2 years. You know what I mean? You're talking about a fan base that had 2 years off, has been sitting around speculating and thinking and mulling over possibilities and who's going to be on the throne and what's going to happen, who's going to die, and just endless possibilities for 2 years.
Yeah, they've been going to the mental gym trying to figure it out. Just like, all right, what's this theory? Work it out. Not that one.
Literally.
Just do this one. Work it out.
And I think
they're mentally buff for the show.
Exactly. Well, in a weird way. But, I think when this season started, there was already a lot of people that were disappointed or they were just unhappy based on the first couple of episodes, based on, what we've talked about, that mental image in their mind of something that they want, and if they don't get that exactly, it becomes a bust.
So, I agree with you. I think, I watched Game of Thrones and I rewatched the whole series, by the way, before we did this. So that way I didn't miss anything. So that
the whole series or the season?
Series.
Oh, you watched 1 through 8?
Well, the ones that I skipped. Remember I skipped a couple?
That's right. Okay.
So I watched it. I filled in my gaps.
Filled in the blanks. Okay.
And I was like, neither here nor there on that. I was like, oh, this is the same exact thing. I believed in the show just as much as I did before.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. There was no way that this show was going to capitalize on it. I think they built everything up into a way I was like, it's going to be so hard for them to hit the nail on the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have. I just don't think they would have made the right choices to do it.
Well, I think some of those things did happen. Some of those epic moments did happen.
Yeah.
When we talk about the Long Night episode, that fight, I loved it.
I was very disappointed with that. So, I get... All right, so the Long Night refers to episode 3. That refers to their attack on...
The White Walker attack.
Winterfell,
yep.
Right? If it was up to me, I would have done it very differently. I would have done... First off, before we even get to that, yep. I think we need to talk on the bigger scale before we get into that.
Sure.
I feel this season, to me, it felt rushed.
Yeah.
And it felt crammed in. And what I mean by that, and I know most of you guys are going to agree, I felt this should have been 2 seasons. I felt episodes 1, 2, and 3 should have been a 6 issue. Wow, hear me, common talk. 6 episode TV show.
Okay.
Boom. That should have been season 8. Season 9 should have been the rest of the series.
I agree with you that it definitely felt rushed. I thought even in the last episode alone, the last 45 minutes could have been 6 seasons.
I don't know about that one right now.
All of the stuff that happened that was just boom, 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 could have been another full arc of story.
People have said that. I see that argument. I think you could have sped that up and been fine. That little bit, not as fast as they did. Maybe an episode or 2.
I think they could have done way more. I think another part of this, which I think is a legitimate thing, they had to work with the story that they were allowed to work with based on the fact that those books are not done.
Correct.
And there was no way in hell George R. R. Martin was going to let out the 100% ending of his book.
Because then nobody would buy it.
For the show. Yeah. Exactly. And he already said, there's going to be a lot of stuff in the book that, was not in the show. The ending of the show has specific points that do hit a lot of the things I'm doing, but the ending is completely different.
This whole season 8 is great marketing for George R. R. Martin's last book, because I'm sure he's going to sell buttloads more because people are unhappy with it.
Because people want to know, like, the real ending.
He's like, I'm making J.K. Rowling money now, bitch. What are you gonna do? Give me all of that.
Oh, he's been making that with all the TV.
With the TV.
Yeah, with the TV.
He's still not, I don't think, on the J.K. Rowling money level.
You think?
No, nowhere close, bro.
What,
TV series versus movies.
And now
plays.
she's a play.
She has a fucking world, bro.
That's true. That's true. Once you have the world, like the Disney world, you're good.
She's like, oh, you could come to my land and see a dragon and you can buy a chocolate frog. I can't buy a chocolate freaking penis from Game of Thrones. I mean, I'm sure you could, but not yet.
Game of Thrones land's gonna be completely different.
It's gonna be filled with orgies.
There's chocolate dicks everywhere.
Everywhere. Here's some titties. There's a dragon that gets ceremoniously cut down.
They're gonna sell Reek's severed dick as a chocolate.
Oh my
God.
God.
A chocolate bar.
Yeah. Hold the door ice cream. Why ice cream?
Hold the door ice cream.
Just feels right.
Maybe.
So now going back to what we were talking about with The Long Night and how I would have done it differently, and why I don't like this episode. I'll get to that matter before, but I just want to speak to what I would have done differently. There should have been 2 attacks. There should have been another keep more north of Winterfell, where we had a fight, where we had a battle. We could have still had the Dothraki disappear. That beautiful, beautiful scene. Like, I think that's one of my favorite scenes from that episode. Them running to the darkness and dying. But if we would have saw the White Walkers come and destroy a keep, we still could have had a great battle. We still could have lost some big characters. And then they're going to come to the final battle at Winterfell, where the stakes, I felt like, would have been higher. We would have known how strong exactly they are. We kind of have an idea they took down the wall, right? But in this one, if they would have spread it out, they'd take down another keep, and then maybe we'd have had a better battle with Jon Snow versus the Night King. Because he did nothing. And I think he was a huge disappointment for me in that episode. A waste of a character, built up for nothing. They made him for nothing. You could have had, the dragon. The dragon battle was fine. They could have done a little bit more with that if they really wanted to. The generals, like the Night Generals or whatever you call them, waste. I feel like even if you just had the first keep, just be the Night Generals and the Night King, just them alone, not even the army taking shit out. Mm-hmm. And then you'd be like, oh, wow, that's insane. But bulk of the forces are in Winterfell, and then you have the battle play out, I think it would have been better. And then I would have been okay with not seeing the Night King and the generals do anything because we already saw a display of their power.
So, I'm on the opposite end of that spectrum with some similarities.
Okay.
I didn't have a problem with the way the battle was. Like, I don't care about a keep that doesn't matter. About the White Walkers destroying a keep, which they already did. Like, they came down and they destroyed it. That's where they found the kid, and, like, his body got burned in the first episode. Yeah. I don't need to see it. I know they're going to destroy everything. After we've seen them beyond the wall, the stuff that they could do. I'm completely okay with them just coming to Winterfell and saying, like, this is where we make our stand. This is our last stand. If they get by us, everyone's fucked. We need to hold the line. This is our moment right here. If we die, we die. We hold the line. I'm totally okay with the night vision stuff.
What do you mean night vision?
Meaning, like, there's a lot of complaints about, like, people not being able to see.
I'm 100% against you on that. I understand what they're going for. It's dark, it's snowy, it's muddy. Bro, we should be able to see, man. I think it ruined everything they were trying to do.
I did not at all. I think it was a total engulf. You were totally engulfed, and you were those characters as well. You were seeing exactly what they were seeing, which is a crazy horde of shit coming at you, and it wasn't supposed to feel like a human fighting a human. It was supposed to feel elemental. It was supposed to feel spiritual. It was supposed to feel like ghosts almost in the night, where you can't really fucking know what it is, and you just have to, like, build up the courage to attack back. I was totally okay with the night stuff. I could care like that stuff was, to me, putting the audience into the character's view of saying, this is, like, you're an audience. This is the closest you will be as feeling what they feel and dealing with what they're dealing with. And the fact that they were kind of getting through it, and then you get through the fire and you could kind of see everybody. Like, I think it had moments of things and artistic stuff that a lot of people aren't going to like. I personally really liked.
Fair enough. You're entitled to your opinion.
I thought the Night King stuff, yeah, like, would I have wanted him to fight Jon Snow? I think everyone kind of wanted him to fight Jon Snow.
For me,
the generals? Yeah, I think the generals totally didn't really have a part. I think that was definitely one of... I'm more lax on the generals. But I think the biggest thing here isn't even the king, the Night King, and Jon and Daenerys. I think the biggest thing here is, especially during this episode, we have this whole sector of people protecting Bronn.
Okay.
Brandon Stark. And he goes into his, like, three-eyed raven mode and flies, and he's like, oh, I can see the Night King on the dragon, kind of preparing his plan. Yeah. Nothing comes of that.
Correct.
And later on...
I'm with you on that.
What makes me more upset, like, I thought, as far as action goes, it was insane. As far as, like, deaths go, I thought probably more people were going to die than they did.
Yeah, they should have.
But, like, I don't know if that's a big deal to me.
So, the deaths isn't really a big deal. I want to go back to Jon Snow for a moment, if you don't mind. Jon Snow, his arc in this series, Game of Thrones, and everything, has to deal with... A lot of it was building up to this battle, right?
Yeah.
His whole thing's like, we're going to have to fight a war. We're not going to win. We got to get together.
She's my queen.
She's my queen.
She's my queen.
Forget about the she's my queen. Well, before that, then they're going to come and kill us. We have to stop it. We have to do this, right? The man did nothing in the fight. I could have taken Jon Snow out of that, and the same shit would have happened. He didn't fight. Yeah. He didn't kill a dragon, right? He should have fought, got burned by the dragon. We saw him. Even if I would have just saw him alive, and we're like, oh, shit. One guy on the floor, so like... He's a dog alien. Ah! And then his zombie kills him. And then his zombie kills him. Ah! And then we kill him. Like he didn't fight the Night King. I get that. Like, you don't need it. All right, everybody's complaining about that. Cool. Mm-hmm. If we don't have a fight, leave it to Arya. Cool.
But if he fights the Night King, you don't get that moment with Arya that everyone stands up and cheers for.
He should at least have fought a general. Or waste some time doing something. Like, he did nothing. That was very...
I think it's very tough. Again, I think I understand. Mm-hmm. I think it's very tough when it comes to, like, talking about expectations and your own personal expectations.
I get it.
Instead of just talking about what we have here and what we, like, this is what we have, regardless. Yes, we can make it better by throwing after we've seen it. In hindsight's 2020. We can make it better by throwing this and this and this. I think there's a lot of things that they were like, man, we kind of got to move this along, so let's go here.
That's what it was.
But I don't know if the Night King battle was one of those moments.
Jon's whole arc was about this battle, and he did not play an important part in this battle at all.
Besides burning things, yes, on the dragon.
Yeah, okay.
And, like, getting to...
He just got the people there so that way we could have a battle. Like, that's like me watching Harry Potter 1 and be like, oh, he's going to have to deal with the Dark Lord. Yeah, and he's going to have to fight.
100%.
And Harry played an important role in that. Or, like, he was the role, right?
Yeah.
But Jon Snow, I felt like he should have more of an integral part. Even if he took like a frost giant down. The little girl had a bigger, important role than him. She took down a frost giant.
Although, and I've talked about this, I laughed really hard at one moment in that episode specifically, where Jon's kind of by himself and he's backing into Winterfell.
Okay.
As, like, he's killing the White Walkers and everyone's kind of retreating.
Okay.
And there's a moment where Jon kind of looks around and it's like all this slow-mo of, like, Brienne killing people, like, White Walkers and Podrick and Jaime and all these people. And then he looks to the right and Sam's on the ground just, like, screaming and, like, like classic Sam. And he looks at Sam and walks away.
Wait,
and
now he looks at him. They made eye contact.
Eye contact of, like, help me, Jon, I'm on. And then he just goes and, like, walks away. I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like,
he's like, man.
And how Sam survived, I have no idea.
Even if Jon saved Sam, I would have been like, all right, at least you did something, Jon.
No, but, like, it's so much better that he looked at Sam and was like, fuck, Sam, again? Like, can't you stand on your 2 fucking feet for once? And just, like, I don't have time for this, and walks away. I thought that was amazing. I laughed really hard at that. But I will say the Arya moment to me was the highlight of this season for me. Yep, I thought that was...
I wonder how that sounded for you guys.
Yeah, weird. I thought that was brilliant. If there was more things before that to then have that payoff, I get it. As far as, like, maybe Jon has a fight with him. And, like, I thought originally when... Like, seeing it for the first time. When Daenerys comes and, like, tries to burn him and he's standing there like, yeah, all right.
That was cool.
And then Jon goes in to fight him. I thought he was actually going to fight Jon.
He should have.
And then Jon starts winning with the Valyrian steel, and he's like, oh no, fuck this. There's no way you're going to beat me. And then raises the dead to stop Jon.
I would have been happy.
And he leaves and retreats.
I would have been happy.
That would have been pretty cool. But
I think I would have forgave all the poor writing in that episode and poor directing if you gave me that moment.
I still loved the tone of that fight. I loved barely being able to see and like the craziness and the speed. I thought that was so fucking cool and smart, in my opinion, based on just like putting us in their perspective. I get it though, like everyone wants to see everything, but it's not up to you or me.
Sure.
I will say I really liked the tone the first episode set going forward, though.
I did.
I liked getting everyone who hasn't seen each other meeting up, getting that out of the way.
Yeah.
Arya and Jon, Brandon and Jon, like everyone who hasn't seen each other in forever, kind of doing that and being like, let's set the tone for the rest of this. I was like, oh, okay, we're off to a good start.
Let me ask you a question. Speaking of the first episode,
Sure.
and we, everybody now knows that Jon is the rightful heir, right?
Yes.
I think that whole him being the rightful heir, being the bastard, another thing, part of Jon's character, the only real payoff for that, correct me if I'm wrong, was what's the bald guy who died?
Varys.
It was Varys' death and the betrayal. And that kind of set off Daenerys being evil, right? And like even that felt rushed. Maybe if that was elongated and explained, it would have been a little bit better, but we're going to get to that.
I think it was Melisandre's death. I think that's what really set her off.
Well, yes, I understand that. But what I'm saying is that like all of Jon and this whole being a bastard, being a seeker, who he's really related to throughout the series, throughout the season, I felt like that's another thing they let Jon's character down with. That didn't really play a bigger role.
I will 100% agree with you on that. Okay. And I've talked to our movie guy, Ed, who's on all the time. He's a huge Game of Thrones person as well. And we've talked about this too. There was no payoff where Varys is sending those letters out to the kingdoms telling basically everyone who Jon is, that he's a Targaryen.
Waste.
There is no payoff. Like, at the last episode, there is no, at all, mention of it. There's no, oh my god, everyone knows, what do we do? There's no, like, he's the rightful heir and, like, becomes a sultan, whatever the hell. Like, there's no payoff from Varys sending those letters out, being killed for it, being right about it, and then none of that.
The only payoff would be added fuel to the fire of Daenerys flipping. Right? I mean, and that's very little.
Well, that got added to the fire anyway because she knew what he was doing.
True,
and
yeah, I get that. But
once Tyrion told her, which I thought that was a really good scene because she looked crazed already by then. Like, she was like, clearly wasn't sleeping well, was just paranoid, and it created this whole tension.
I mean,
that never went away.
I just feel like Game of Thrones wasted Jon Snow's character.
I don't know if they wasted him as far as...
Well, I mean, how can you say that when none of his big moments they've been building...
finish.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if they wasted compared to... They just don't really know how his story ends because it's not written yet.
I mean...
Like, here's the problem.
I think that's a cop-out, but... Okay.
But there's no other choice. Like, if you don't have a choice based on, like, hey, this writer, it's his property. All these characters are his intellectual property and written property. I'm doing this book. It's not done yet. I'm still figuring out some things. I'm still writing it. He writes fucking slow. We all know this.
Mm-hmm.
This show can use Jon Snow and use him and utilize this, and this. But because none of this has been talked about and it's in my book, you can't use this. I think that's a part of it.
You think that
I think that's
George
a
Orwell
major
was
part of it.
You can't do this and this and this.
I think there's a major part where the ending of this show and Jon's full circle story, they kind of like did almost like a, hey, let's kind of just get him full circle to where he was.
Okay.
And but we can't use anything because George, 1, hasn't told us what it is. Okay. And 2...
He told us what we can't do.
He told us what we can't do, and this isn't done, so now we have to write around this. I think that was a lot of it. It felt like, watching it felt like that. Because you had this buildup of, like, Jon's going to be the hero, Jon's going to be this. And in past seasons, we got that. Like, Battle of the Bastards is, like,
very
peak
good.
Jon.
Very
right?
good.
Like we have Jon go in head first, you honestly think that wouldn't happen in the final, like, book?
Okay.
To me, like, watching this whole last season felt very like, oh, they had to hold back here for some reason. Oh, like, this doesn't make sense because it seems like it's not supposed to make sense on purpose. Like, it felt very, like, withdrawn and taken aback.
All right, so...
As a part of it, not saying the whole thing, but as a part of it.
No, I personally, and I'm sure many of you listening and watching, did not think that. I don't know what that was. Did not view that. That thought never crossed my mind. I was so much like, wait, what's going on? I never thought like George R. Martin was like, you can't do this. Or like this, and this. And he has that in agreement, which makes sense. Because I'm very sure J.K. Rowling would be like, yeah, you can't do this and this and this in her movies. 100%. Right? I never even thought about that. Like that being a possibility.
George Lucas does the same thing. And and that never started his books. Like Star Wars never started his books. They started his intellectual property of movies. You know what I mean? So
I have to give it some leeway now. I understand.
It's some leeway. Okay. I'm not saying it's the reason the season was the way it is. I'm just saying it's definitely a part of it, and I get it. Like, but here's the line that we all have to draw and check ourselves with: the fan to fanaticism.
Okay.
Right? Be a fan. Be happy. Be upset. Be emotional. Whatever it is, but think. You know what I mean? Like, don't be a fanatic where, you know, this show has taken your emotional state and personality to the stratosphere because you didn't like how it ended. Right. Like, someone said something great to me the other day, and it was like, you know, all this crazy reaction about Game of Thrones, it's a TV show at the end of the day. It's fantasy. Obviously, we talk about it. We're doing a podcast about pop culture and make-believe, right? But, like... Here's the
make-believe? This is a historical document?
You mean this is not real?
I'm quitting.
But, like, again, it's all fun. It's stuff that, you know, have a positive take on it, have a negative take on it. But your opinion doesn't shape the world based on a TV show. And my buddy was like, who doesn't watch Game of Thrones at all for some reason.
It's fine.
And I was like...
After watching how it ended, people who haven't watched it, I'm like, I understand.
But, like, if he's like, you know, maybe the world would be different if half the people that are this mad about it actually went out and voted. Oh. And I'm like, you know what? You're not wrong. Oh. You're not wrong at all. Oh. Like, stuff like that.
We could have had Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie.
Feel the burn!
Feel the burn, baby burn.
Can you imagine Bernie was president, feel the burn, and then you have a picture of him blow as the dragon just burning shit?
Technically you do that now.
Get on it. Internet.
I mean, you
somebody make that
it.
Feel the burn, and he's the dragon, or he's riding the dragon, and he screams, "Feel the burn."
But like,
I'm gonna do it
again.
I'll figure it
out.
Like
things like this, I get it, and like we're obviously gonna continue talking about this. But
we have to. We're not done. We have the rest of the show to do.
But like, again, I understand the emotional stuff, but just like sometimes you just gotta sit back and think and say, okay, I get this, and I'm emotional about this, or I'm emotional about this in the moment. Let me calm down and actually think about this.
You know, Chris, I wish you would have waited until we finished ranting about and talking about this season before you were like, oh, maybe they couldn't because he said no. Because now when we're going to talk about a couple of things, and we're like, all right. now though, everything I'm going to be like, maybe he couldn't do this. Maybe they couldn't do it.
Again, we don't know. But, I mean, some things were definitely bad. Some things were definitely done badly.
So let's go into the next part. We got to talk about the twist, right? We got to talk about the attack on...
King's Landing.
King's Landing. I was going to say Westeros, but that's the whole thing.
Yeah, with episode 5, The Bells.
So, right before that, we saw the dragon die. By the way, I was shocked.
I didn't see it coming.
I was like, wow, that was awesome.
It was good because it was like a happy moment of like, oh, the dragons are stretching their wings and everyone's kind of like nice. It was like, ah! It was like, ah!
And then we get to the next part where they're attacking, and then plot armor comes in, which, not a bad thing. Plot armor is, some people hate it. Some people like it. Mm-hmm. We have been reading comics for a long time and watching this stuff. Sometimes plot armor is necessary. Otherwise, Luke Skywalker would have been dead, right? So we're going to get into this. So her plot armor kicks in, and then she destroys the whole battalion when she's riding a dragon, because I guess when she rides it, you know, the dragon is smarter, right? And then she goes, and then she proceeds to take out the whole like Great Wall of China around the building.
Literally, yeah.
And destroys all of them, and then she's just sitting there. I'm like, what are you going to do? I was like, all right. Wow. That was all. I mean, it was cool to see. Awesome. But I was like, I would have liked to have one of those things pierce even a friggin' wing, so it would have felt close.
I was okay with that because of how fast they killed that second dragon.
All right.
And you kind of knew it had to die, too. Like, you kind of knew Drogon was going to be the last one standing.
Well, I mean, yeah. And if they had 2 dragons, they'd be like, all right, I mean, even one, it's like, all right, you died.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if she had all 3?
Oh, no, that would have been like a 30-second episode.
It would have been like, boop.
So, like, I think... All right, so the Bells episode, that was the turning point of... We got some really great shit in between that craziness.
Yeah.
The Hound fighting his brother, the Mountain.
What do you think of that fight?
Was great.
I hear a lot of people who didn't like it, so I'm with you.
A lot of people don't like everything.
I understand. I'm gonna bring up.
That's why we don't care about
I care about you.
I don't.
I'm gonna bring up the criticisms.
I don't.
And I
really don't. I'm being polite, but I really don't care about
I'm gonna bring up the criticisms.
Yeah.
Of that fight, and I want to see what your opinion on it.
Go for it. If you say at one point that it wasn't a realistic fight, I will slap the shit out of you.
I'm not gonna say that now.
Okay.
I don't. These are not my opinions, Chris. The fact that it was on the stairs and it was.
Then why don't you have your own opinion?
I said I agree with you. I'm bringing up the criticism that people talk about.
I don't care about that.
Okay, fine. I like the fight.
I like your opinion. That's why I talk to you and not them.
Aww. I like the fight. All right, so we'll just go on to me. Forget all the other stuff. I like the fight. I thought it was fun.
I like that it was on the stairs.
I like that it was on the
stairs.
stairs.
It was ridiculous. It was very like. It was very like Princess Bride-esque. You know what I mean? Like it was like just like epic knights and we're gonna fight. It was ridiculously awesome. It was epic and there was fire.
There it is.
There was crazy shit.
That
happening.
fight was ridiculously awesome.
Yeah.
And people wanted more of a serious nitty gritty, and I don't think it needed it.
It was serious though. It was 2 brothers trying to fucking kill each other. It was serious enough.
I agree, but it felt ridiculous. It was good though.
But it was serious to the point where he knew the only way to beat him was to not only kill himself, but destroy himself in the thing that he feared the most.
Yeah.
Which was fire. Mm. Like he threw himself to the flames with his brother.
Yeah.
That's a poetic justice of like it was very Shakespearean almost.
I like how Cersei just was like, oh, let me walk by.
By the way, the best part was her hand where he's like, so Gregor, you must. If the man can kill you by throwing a person, don't fuck with him.
I couldn't believe it.
He died by getting thrown.
That was great.
He just grabbed him, threw him, and killed him.
So
that was amazing.
When they rang the bell,
fucking die.
Stabbed him in the eye.
It was great.
He's like, "Are you serious?"
It was great.
He's like a zombie.
And I love that he also tried to do the same thing he did to the Prince of Dorne, where he tried to like pop the eyes out.
I thought he did.
I thought he did too for a second. That was great.
But when they rang the bell and we see Jon on the floor, this episode was good, and this whole part of them in the thing was good because of Jon's reaction. Like this is the part where I like Jon, like him seeing everybody, seeing them fight, stopping them,
doing the good thing,
And in this scene, not in the scene, and then also Tyrion after the war and fight, like when they're on the floor levels, like you see their perspective. You see how dangerous it is, how dark it is, and you feel the weight. I feel like they did a very good job with that. Arya going in and coming out
pointless.
I'm
absolutely pointless.
I was like, if you're not killing Cersei, so not even like setting.
It was pointless, and like if the whole point was
to get the Hound there, she was delivering the Hound.
No. If the whole point was for the Hound to basically tell her like, you don't want to be me, you need to be you. She's gonna die anyway. Let me go finish what I have to finish, and you go survive somehow and take care. Like, that could have been done before they entered.
Yeah.
And you could have Arya doing something else. Mm-hmm. Maybe Arya's like doing what Jon's doing, protecting people and killing their own people if she has
I would have liked that.
Like,
her just going on a murder spree, killing them.
And the reason they did it, like, I don't know if you watched the documentary that was afterwards.
I did not.
I did.
How was it?
It was very good.
Okay.
Good insight. And they said the reason they had Arya in the town while the basically town's being destroyed was because, which is true, when you have when stuff like that being happen, it's just random people dying, you don't have a reaction really.
But the fact that
you have a character you love who's also in it, you get worried for that character.
Sure, I get.
So that I get that, but at the same time, I think they could have connected those dots better.
I mean, if she was doing something along the way, like killing people. And then trying, like you said, like kind of doing what Jon's doing and getting out. I think you would have had the same effect.
I also think Like, once Daenerys started going in and burning the actual town.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she snapped. Okay.
Oh, yeah, she totally snapped. And you could tell, like, while she was on the dragon, once the bell started, like, chiming, I was like, oh, yeah, she's gone.
With her flip, right? Going heel, going villain.
Oh, wait, but I wanted to say that I thought
sorry.
she was going to come and take out Cersei in the tower. Like, when she started flying into town.
I thought she was supposed to.
I thought she was going to burn, because I thought the way that her and Jaime died was awful. Like, I get it. Poetic justice, and, like, they died in each other's arms trying to escape. They couldn't escape. I don't know how Jaime got there because he got stabbed 3 times. But, like, I wanted, like, after everything Cersei has done, wouldn't it have been nice to see her either burned to death or, like, eaten something by the dragon?
So, with this episode, I'm fine with how the results. I'm not fine with the how. So,
yeah. Well, like, we knew Cersei had to die.
So, let me explain Daenerys' turn. And then I'm going to explain Cersei's death real quick.
Go for it.
With her going evil, I'm fine with it. I think because everything was truncated and combined and shortened, we really didn't have the time to actually see her transition as smoothly as we wanted to.
Oh, but so that's a good point. But I think that to me was one of the most brilliant things they did this season, is allowing Daenerys to become, like, basically a product of her family and her DNA bloodline. We saw these things occur. We allowed it because it was for the good guys.
Correct.
Which I think is a brilliant move, because in, like, all of our minds, that moral compass, well, like, she's freeing slaves. Of course she's going to kill the slave masters. She's, freeing the Dothraki and taking over that army, so she kills, like... But she has been doing this for seasons, and we don't really notice it as much, because obviously this is a way shorter season, and it's all kind of combined.
I get that.
But once she starts doing the stuff that she has been doing in a different style... That's when you're like, wait a minute.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
I get it.
I thought to me, that was one of the best moments of the season. I know a lot of people are pissed that she turned evil because they put so much time and...
I'm fine with her turning evil. I just wanted it just spaced out a little bit. Like, to breathe.
Yeah.
And now going...
Which goes with having a longer season.
Correct. And now going to how Cersei and Jaime died.
Yeah.
I liked it. But I would have rather have the dragon crash into the building. Or, like at least coming into it. And they're both running, and you running from the dragon before the dragon gets them, and then it crushes.
I wanted
just having the threat of the dragon near them, or Cersei, Daenerys near them. They didn't need to see each other, but like being right close to the vicinity, and then having that happen, I think would have satisfied a lot of people. For me, I could hear either way. I'm fine with the poetic justice. They died in each other's arms. They were the death of each other. Her brother was what killed her and stuff like that. I get that, but I think if you would have had like the threat even closer, like the physical dragon or like that, the physical representation of that danger closer, I would have been okay with it.
I wanted so badly for the dragon to come up, and they thought that it was going to burn her with fire, and it didn't. It stops, and like she looks at her, and Cersei's kind of like says something like, well, what are you going to do now? Like almost like she can't break that wall down of just being that total like bitchy, in-your-face toolbox.
And then she eats her?
Instead of burning her, it just fucking bites the shit out and grabs her. That would have been crazy.
You see, I don't want that. Because
we never got a dragon bite, though.
No, we didn't. You're right.
I thought they were going to save it for that. Like, I'm like, oh, they're going to bite the shit out of her and, like, in half. I thought, like, when we see Varys die, that overhead shot of Drogon coming out of the dark was crazy. And
that
then
was
burning him. That was
a shot.
Oh, shit.
That was great. They had a lot of great cinematography. I'm not taking that away from this. When you were explaining that, you know what I was thinking the whole time?
The bite?
Yeah. I was like, sounds like something Shrek would do. I don't know why. I'm just like, oh, what are you going to do? Like if the dragon...
What are you going to do?
If, like, Donkey's dragon woman went up to Lord Farquhar, he's like, oh, what are you going to do? No. I'm like, oh, haha, you're so funny. Like, I just feel like there's a common trope. I feel I'm so glad they didn't do that. I'm like, oh, okay, Donkey.
You would be upset with Game of Thrones based on fucking Shrek.
Hey, Shrek?
Wow.
Game of Thrones.
Wow. Wow.
Shrek has the memes. Now, kidding.
Wow.
So,
I don't even want to talk anymore.
You don't have to. We can be done with this.
Even my dog's upset.
Come on. You guys listening at home and you guys watching, you're like,
Shrek.
That kind of felt like a Shrek moment. It felt like a little kid
Only
thing.
if
like,
Daenerys does the voice of Shrek while doing it.
It has nothing to do with Shrek. It's Lord Farquhar.
Lord Farquaad.
Farquaad.
What's Farquaad?
No, he's French.
But isn't it Quad?
No, it's not. It's not quad like the muscle.
I thought it was like Lord Farquaad.
No, you know. Side note: I heard they're rebooting Shrek.
They are.
and with the same voice cast.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Are you?
I used to. Well, I love that
Shrek's
stuff.
great, but like I don't know.
Donkey!
I just it's cool, but all right. Like it'll be cool to see rebooted, but like rebooting Shrek, I don't know if you need to.
What?
Do you need to?
Have you ever watched? All right, one last thing, and then we're gonna get back to Game of Thrones. Have you ever watched Shrek is Love?
No. Of course not.
I don't want you to, but just know.
I don't want you to.
Just know, it is probably one of the best things that come out of that.
What is it? A YouTube video?
Yeah, it's messed up. Everybody who's seen it, I think you should watch it. I think I'm gonna show you after that. Yeah, it's funny, man. Oh my god, it's so messed up. I don't think you're ready for it.
Okay.
I don't think you're mentally prepared.
Probably not.
No. I'm gonna give you
your reaction. Like, no, you're not.
No.
I'm not gonna give you. You're not allowed to answer. You're not.
You're not allowed to answer. Even if you say you were, you're not. All right. So going back to the show.
Yeah.
All right, continue. I need a second. Let's talk about her on this. Yeah.
Yeah, like So what you said about them dying, like I get it. Like Jaime and Cersei need to die together. I love the moment. I actually teared up. The moment where Tyrion releases Jaime. And
that was nice.
He's like, I'm begging.
You teared up over that, yeah?
Oh yeah, because Tyrion's my favorite. So, the fact that he was like, you need to get out of here. Like, it's over. She's going to die. You need to take her, leave, and go live your lives with your new baby and be happy. Like, just go. He's like, there'll be a dinghy out in this back secret. Like, you could just sail off into the sunset.
And he did.
And the fact that, like, as he released him, like, he thanked Jaime for not treating him like a monster and not treating him like, he's like, you were the only one in my corner. I was like, this is, like, beautiful. Plus, Peter Dinklage is so good. But I thought that moment alone, I was like, this is glorious.
My favorite shot from the series, I think, has to be after they destroyed everything. All the troops are rallying and celebrating. You see Cersei's and the dragon wings coming behind them and flapping like she looks like a dragon queen.
Oh, you mean Daenerys at the last shot?
What did I say?
You said Cersei.
I meant Daenerys. Sorry. Daenerys there and like looking like the dragon queen. I think that's my favorite cinematic shot of the whole series.
I'm iffy on it. I like it, but it's also like, yes, we get it. She's evil now. Like, it's very, like, in your face of, like, oh, man, didn't know she was evil. I thought the crazy one was her basically giving the Nazi rally. Yeah. When she starts speaking and everyone's doing, like, the stepping. And
then you see Jon and Tyrion look at each other like,
it's like, shit, we just created Hitler. Like,
what are we going to do?
Damn it.
I don't know. I'm going to throw my pen.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be enough. Yeah, fuck you, lady. And didn't stop her. Help! And Jon, like, he's getting pulled off. He's like, and then Arya's like, you can do something about this, or do I need to?
Seriously, I thought Arya was going to.
I thought Arya was going to kill her. I would have lost my mind.
Arya was going to kill her.
Again, Arya would have killed her. The show would have been perfect. But so what do you think about Daenerys' death? Speaking of death,
very Shakespearean, very quick.
Do you think it was a little too quick, like the theme of the season?
Yes, it was too quick, but it went in par with what the season had, based on timing and...
Okay, yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's good.
This is when, what you said earlier, this is what I wanted now, where Drogon comes in and he's, like, screaming and crying in pain over Daenerys being dead, and he kind of, like, nudges her, like, very emotional, like, almost like dog-like tendencies he had.
Yeah.
This is when I wanted him to try and burn Jon and Jon survive it because he's Targaryen and not be burned.
Correct. I think
that's when I was like, oh, this is going to happen.
I thought so too.
Like, and then Drogon's going to be his. Like, it's like, and Drogon's like, oh, you're one of us. Kind of like almost realized
I still would have been fine if he burned Jon. Like think about it. If like it's a dog and its owner died and it goes to tantrum, you nudge it. And then just burns fire everywhere, like up, down, and then sees Jon, just burns and focuses on him. Yeah. And the throne and the same thing, and they both, like, you see the throne, you don't know if Jon's alive or not, because we all had that question. Is it enough, though? We're, like, everybody, like, oh, he'll be fine. But I would have been like, I don't know. He's half. We'll see. And then you see Jon alive. Am I enough? Drogon doesn't even care. He doesn't even try to kill it, and just, like, he releases that stress. Yeah. Picked him up and left. Yeah. And then people came up like, Jon, what happened? And he's like, There was a fire.
There was a fire, and he took her and...
Drogon took Daenerys, there was a fire. Why are you alive? I threw off my clothes. He gonna lie, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right?
He's like, I was on fire, I rolled around, I threw it, and he burned everything.
Yeah. Why are you naked?
Why are you naked? And he'd be like, do you want to find out, big boy?
My lord.
My lord.
Your pants off.
Your pants are on fire. Are you a liar?
Don't worry about that.
What is he, Batman?
Basically.
Don't worry about my pants.
Don't worry about my pants.
You think he would have been a good Batman?
Kit Harington? I don't know. Not really.
He'd
be a good superhero, though. Just not Batman.
He might be a good... I don't know. Nightwing?
I got it.
Who?
Kyle Rayner. Green Lantern. He kind of looks like Kyle Rayner.
Kyle. The artistic.
Without the mustache. He could totally pull off Kyle Rayner.
Yeah? I think he could. All right.
Nightwing, I think he's a little too old and...
He's a little too grizzled?
A little too manly.
He's a man.
You're a man.
You're a man. Kyle Rayner, I don't think that's a good fit.
Really?
Yeah.
Who else?
You guys let us know in the
Let's
comments down below.
Kit Harington.
There we go.
Maybe like Captain Britain or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Namor? He's got the jet black hair.
Namor. I like Namor.
He's got the jet black hair.
I like Namor.
But people would be pissed that he's not, like, at least partially Asian.
Is Namor Asian, really?
He looks kind of Asian. He's Atlantean. He's Atlantean. It's like Superman. He's Kryptonian. Like, he's not anything.
Okay. You have anything else to say about Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
we gotta talk about the ending, right?
I think as far as the ending and, like, Brandon being king was very anticlimactic. This is my problem with it, right? So, like, I know it's TV, but, like, shows have meaning all the time. And seasons have meaning. Like, if you look at shows like Breaking Bad, right? Every show had a specific color coordination that went with the meaning and the overall, like, feel of it. Like, it was very coordinated. Even though it was about drugs. I think...
And chicken.
And very good chicken. I think as far as Game of Thrones and the overall ending of this, almost like the promotion of you could be Brandon Stark. You could do absolutely nothing and come out on top. That kind of mentality /
I don't know if that's the message that came off.
It wasn't the message, but that's, like, literally what it is. Right? Like, you did barely anything this whole show, yet came out on top. I don't...
He was the bait for the Night King. He helped... I think he was...
But we don't know why.
That never paid off, either.
We didn't... I needed, like, after episode 3, after the long night, right? I needed one episode where Brandon's explanation of everything was there.
And, like, how he was, like, the mastermind behind everything.
And how he
like Tom King used to do in his Batman run for, like, 4 issues straight, telling us that Bane is the best.
Yes.
Which we'll get to. Another episode.
But apparently issue 72 that just came out explains everything and all makes sense now. I read
it. It's everything you know. It doesn't edit any shit. It, like...
Well, I haven't read it yet.
We'll talk.
We'll see. I don't think Brandon...
Do you think... I was going to say in the comic. Do you think in the book... Who do you think is king in the book?
It could still be Brandon. It could be... But even if it's Brandon in the book, we know that George R. R. Martin over-explains everything. That's why his books are thousands of pages long.
Yeah.
So, like, in the book, you might read it and be like, Brandon's king. Yeah, damn right. It makes sense. Oh my god, this is brilliant. Because you have all the explanation we didn't get.
You know when they were sending off John to Back to the Wall, which was funny. It was like, ha, you loser.
What a dick.
And then they sent back to, like, the Unsullied.
Yes.
I would have been like, all right, he's gone. He's never coming back.
I wouldn't. Fuck the Unsullied.
No, I mean, like, John could stay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally.
Because Bran, who knows everything happening at once, he could be like, okay, they know that you're here. We have to send you away. Or, like he's the ultimate informer. He's like, they're going to come on Tuesday. Leave on Thursday. like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I
would have just killed the Unsullied right there.
I thought the Unsullied shouldn't have had a voice at that meeting. Because they're not a house.
No, but they were like the remnants of Daenerys. You know what I mean? That's like the
yes,
Daenerys...
they were the SS party to the abandoned Hitlerisms. I get it, but like they still didn't have a house. Like House Tarly was there. Like Sam was there for his house. He was a house leader.
Yeah, but it's just him, so it's like...
True, but still, like, all of them had, like, houses that
I get that,
they were
but
in.
Look at House Tarly versus the Unsullied.
Mm-hmm.
Not a house. House. One person in it, an army that can wipe them out.
There's Gilly and his...
All right, Gilly and the pregnant baby. Yeah, Gilly and the unborn baby. All right,
the pregnant baby? Yeah. What a hell of a show this is!
It's 2.5 people. Right?
It's 2.5 people.
Versus an army.
Agreed.
I think it's fair that they have a say.
But here's the other thing, like...
Sully, I mean, he tried to promote democracy.
Well, that, and when he's, like...
That was funny.
When they're going to...
Even the Commodores provoke.
Yeah, right? When they go to Tyrion and it's like, you don't get to speak, and he's like, I'm sorry, I won't speak. I'm just going to say all of this. I'm just going to say all of this and make it Bran.
By the way, the North separating? Why?
Because Sansa deserved her own seat. Sansa put all this shit into place and knew this was going to happen and no one listened to her.
Yeah.
Sansa's the... By the way...
Sansa was like, aha, I'm right, you're wrong.
But if we're talking about just Game of Thrones, it's like, who won the Game of Thrones?
You say Sansa?
The Starks won.
Oh, the Starks, yeah.
The Starks hands down won.
Yeah.
Sansa becomes Queen of the North, which she should have been regardless. Mm-hmm. Arya's going off to do epic things, whatever Arya's doing.
Let me ask you a question. Because they're their own country. They're not a part of the realm, right? Technically.
They are technically a part of the realm.
But like the king doesn't govern them. Right?
No, but like it's also your brother, so I don't know how much that matters.
True, I get that. If Jon went to the north, you think Sansa would have gave up the crown to Jon?
Yeah.
Not that Jon wanted it.
Yeah.
You think she would be like, yeah, you should be king?
Because he was anointed king of the north before her.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted him. And that's why Sansa tells Tyrion about Jon being a Targaryen immediately after he's like, don't tell anyone.
She's like, he's supposed to be king. Make him king.
Literally. And that's kind of what plants the seeds into Daenerys, which Daenerys says, you don't think she wanted this? You don't think she, isn't happy about all these things?
You think we're getting a spin-off show with Arya and her adventures?
No, they already said no.
Did they? I didn't know that.
I think that might be the dumbest thing out of all this.
Correct.
Because you have this whole ending where, like,
also,
Jon is supposed to be full circle.
It's not.
But Jon's just kind of back into the wildling stuff, and basically it's square one.
He pet Ghost finally.
He was with Ghost finally. And you had the, Daenerys getting killed and Sansa becoming queen. Arya goes off. In my head, I'm like, oh my god, they have like 5 spin-off shows. One of them has to be Arya being like Chris Columbus and finding new areas to kill and be awesome.
Yeah.
And be an assassin. But in reality, they're like, nope, not in our plans. I'm like, why?
They could also just say that, you know what I mean?
True. But so far, that is not one of the plans for Arya to have her own spin-off.
Alright, I think it's time for us to wrap up this review.
What about Jaime and Brienne of Tarth?
I don't care.
Didn't mention this. The greatest line in the entire series was in the season.
What is it?
It is when they are at the party after...
At the table?
They killed all the White Walkers. And they're having the party at Winterfell and they're all drinking. And Tormund is drunk as fuck and comes up and goes, which one of you cowards shit my pants? It is hands down the greatest line I've ever heard in a TV show. I laughed so hard that I almost shit my own pants.
I don't remember that.
By the way, Tormund in everything was amazing. When they're having Brienne getting knighted was awesome.
I met you a knight.
And him just like talking about like how he was raised by giants and like
the giants did
for like hours and became strong and like killed a giant and banged his wife and like all this other craziness.
Oh my god.
Tormund was absolutely perfect. Where he's forcing Jon to drink and he's like, I'm good. He's like, drink. He's like, what if I get sick? He goes, you just drink again. Like everything. He was like the drunken friend at a party who was already too drunker than everybody else.
I have no idea what that feels like.
Sure.
I do not partake in the devil's nectar.
In the devil's juice. He was like the drunken crazy, and he was drinking out of a horn, and it was just pouring all over. Like he was it was great. And then like everyone's having this serious conversation, and he comes over. He's like, "Hey, you coward, shit my pants." He just starts like, it was absolutely perfect. Like Like, that's all I needed from him the whole time. Like, Tormund's probably the only character that gave us exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. It was fucking brilliant.
All right. I think we rate it. You ready to rate?
I also let Jamie... I felt bad for Brienne when Jamie left.
She don't need a
She got 2 days out of him.
Yeah. She needs someone better.
What do you think about her writing the rest of his story?
I liked it. I thought it was nice.
I thought she should have wrote something about herself.
It's...
Like, her whole arc was about, like, the female prowess and, like, I could do this good enough, or if not fucking better than you, dude.
I think because her knighthood story is just starting. Okay. And somebody else is going to write that.
I'll give you that.
I don't think they write their own stories, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And the fact that he died, he's like, she knows the story, she's writing it and honoring him.
Died serving his queen and banging his sister. I thought she would have thrown some shade.
Yeah. Nah, she's above that. Good. All right, ready? Are you giving the season or a series a rate?
Let's do both. Oh, one more thing, too.
All right.
Also...
I try to end it, he keeps bringing it back.
This is, like, the best part of the season for me. The party scene where everyone's, like, going off to bang chicks, they're having a conversation, no one notices in the background, Podrick has 2 girls and walks away with 2 women at the same time. And I'm like, Podrick! Like, while all this is going on, Podrick is, like, fucking Mac Daddying it right now.
Is he?
Yes, and he walks out with 2 girls. It's amazing. Everyone's kind of, like, talking, kind of going on.
Podrick, you go.
Podrick was the man. But yeah, this season as a whole, I loved episode 3 personally. I liked episode 4 with the beginning of the funeral. You had, like, the Targaryen stuff. You had kind of, like, the beginning of the end. I liked the first episode.
People already know what you like. You just want a rating.
The Bells was pretty, like, Aaron Rodgers was in that episode, by the way.
I saw.
The Bells. The last episode was really anticlimactic. I'd have to give it a total of possibly a 6.5, 7. Yeah.
I thought you were going to be higher.
No.
I'm giving it...
this season alone, maybe like a 7.
Maybe I'm generous when I grade. I'm going to give this a 6.5, 7 as well. And that reflects for... as a series as a whole, I'm give it the same grade. 6.5, 7.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
I don't think it's that good. I think this ruined so much of it.
I don't.
I felt like the most important characters he wasted.
I think they had so many storylines that opened and closed that had nothing to do with these characters that were amazing. If you watch it again, I think you would like it way more. If you watch it from the beginning and actually watch the whole thing. Series as a whole is fantastic. Yes, this season hurts it a little bit, but 6 episodes compared to like 100?
Yeah. Just the 6 one of the 6 of the most important ones.
Agreed, but the 6 of the most important ones that we possibly weren't allowed to see certain things. As a whole, I'd have to give it like an 8.5. Wow. And like I always say, I start at 10 and I work backwards. Season 1 through arguably 4 is crazy good. Season 6 is really good, Battle of the Bastards, and going into season 7, I'd probably give it an 8.5, maybe even a 9, like depending on the day.
Okay.
This to me is still one of the greatest achievements in television history, as far as not only the amount of fandom and ratings, the amount of accomplishments that we've never seen before is in the stratosphere as far as like. Not as far as Star Wars inventing, like, graphics and visual stuff, but as far as, like, accomplishing feats of 55 straight nights of pure shoots only at night.
I'm changing my answer to 7.5 for overall show.
Okay. But as far as overall feats, the visual effects, like, they made a dragon look like it had emotion in its face. Mm-hmm. That's not easy.
Shrek did it.
Fuck you and your Shrek.
I'm sorry.
Fucking Shrek. But, like, they made, like, almost like a quote-unquote live-action dragon feel like it had emotion. The scene where him and Daenerys go off into Winterfell and land, and they basically fuck in the snow, and all the dragons are kind of looking at him like, yeah. Like, it was really weird, but it was really funny. And he's looking at the dragons, and they're just like, like closely.
I mean, to be fair,
him.
the show made us root for incest. I never thought I would have that.
That's a feat. Also, it has, hands down, you take the action out of it, this show has some of the greatest pure acting scenes I've ever seen in TV.
Best
Tyrion,
overall actor. Yeah, Tyrion gets it for me.
I think Peter Dinklage as Tyrion was hands down the best from beginning to end. Even his scene with Jon in the last episode, which you thought something was going to come of it.
Should have, but okay.
But that conversation, they never really had a conversation like that.
I liked it.
And I was so happy to see that. So I think, and to me, the best part of the show, my favorite scene of all time, is Tyrion's speech after Joffrey's death, where he's getting blamed for it.
That was nice.
Where he's on the stand and saying, like, I wish I was the monster.
I really like that.
I wish I was whatever you say. You people are fucking garbage. Like, just him, basically knowing he's going to die, but still, like, saying, you know what? If I'm going to die a monster, I'll be the monster you want. Like, that to me is probably the most moving, most brilliant TV I've ever seen in my life.
In all of TV, I think he is my favorite character and performance. I'm trying to think of like other shows that I really liked and on the same level.
Yeah.
I think he just did a phenomenal. Towards the end, the writing was a little weird, but I mean, his acting, his performance, and everything throughout the series blew me away.
He's phenomenal, and the fact, you know what? I will pay through the teeth for anything that makes me feel something. You know what I mean? Like
I make you feel something.
Yeah, nauseous.
And I have seen no freaking money. You cheap man.
You're damn right, I'm cheap.
Not even a quarter.
Not even a quarter. But, no, just the fact of, like, I'll pay for anything that makes me feel in the form of, you know, a connection, an emotional tie, a joyous tie, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
And I think Tyrion was that character for all of us, right? Like, he had the hardest road to take. But yet, somehow he didn't use it to just be about his size in real life and in the show. It was about how people treat each other. It was about family issues. It was about, you know, girlfriend-wife issues where, remember, he was in love with the girl and she ended up being his dad's whore and, like, backstabbing him. Yeah. It became so much more than how tall he was. Mm-hmm. It became about the person. And that, to me, was, like worth the weight in gold alone. Yeah, love it.
And with that, guys, we're going to end this episode of the Jersey COic Krew podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Let us know down in the comments below what you thought of this season and the series. Give them both a rating. We definitely would love to hear from it. Make sure you follow us on all of our social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And if you're listening, thank you. Make sure you subscribe and give us a review on Apple iTunes. It helps a lot. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give a like, comment, subscribe. Do all that fun stuff. It really helps us out with it, and so we can grow and do this more often. As always, I'm Rob Moran.
And I'm Chris Heller.
And we'll see you next time.